Pluto, yeah, we talked about Pluto. It's in the first house, so his identity has this control factor on it. Pluto, I got to hold this together. I got to be perfect. Virgo rising. I can't surrender. I got to be strong. And it squares Venus. If I'm not getting what I want, I'm really going to have to work hard. I'm going to have to do that. He has a somewhat serious personality. It's not a surrendering personality, a threatened or a controlling personality or controlling identity. So if someone's being with him and he's being insecure, he'll pull into himself rather than. I have something similar. I don't Pluto on the ascendant, but in relationships, 3 divorces. So I know how to do everything wrong. But when I would have a problem, I'd go into myself to try and figure it out. I have Mercury, Mars conjunct, and it's squared by Saturn. So it's not entirely, it's different places, it's all different. But anyways, the Mercury, Mars, and Saturn, if I have a problem, I pull into myself to try and figure it out. I don't expect anyone's going to solve it for me. I don't want to talk about it. So in my marriages, if I had a problem, if there was a problem, I'd pull in. I wouldn't say, hey, what do you think about this? Of course, that piles up. And over the years, I kept ending, my marriages didn't last. I was too preoccupied and I wasn't really receptive enough to other people's ideas. But here the Pluto, it's affecting his Venus. He's not feeling appreciated. He's threatened, but his identity is formed around that threat. I got to hold this together. I got to do this. Don't tell me what I can't do. I'm going to do this. So it adds a certain severity or harshness to it. It's not right on the ascendant, so it would be stronger if it were right on the ascendant. It's good that it's away, but it is close enough to hit the moon, and it definitely squares the Venus. So the sense of being liked or being at home, the Venus in the 4th house, there's a power struggle here. I don't feel here. I'm not wanted here. I'm not like that. I got to do something. And he has to fight his fears to overcome them and use it. Often this is a powerful point for a creative person, for an artistic person. But again, these are all below the horizon. They're all challenges within himself before he even projects himself out. That's the Pluto. We talked on it, really, it hit the Venus. Neptune doesn't hit anything. We talked on Uranus when it squared the Mars and the Sun. Those are the main complexes from the aspects. In working with a chart, you're not going to accentuate those problems with a person. You may talk about them, but the solution for his Sun and his Mars and his Mercury is to write, to express, to communicate, to be creative, to play, and to make his ideas happen, regardless of the reserve he has from what other people think about it. Why should I do it? No one's going to like it anyways. I still gonna do because I could like it. I got to make it better. I'll do something better. They can't not like it. Okay, so we've run through it. It's created a puzzle. It's created like everybody has their own matrix, their own complexes, and really we all have the planets. We all have the planets in the signs. We have all the planets. We have the planets in the signs, in the houses. We have all of it, and all the signs, all the houses, all the planets. They're just accentuated slightly different in each of our lives. And the aspects tell you where the stress comes from, but the solution is not from the stress. It just means, the stress means there's a bit of extra effort to overcome that, to make use of that, so you do something good with it. But if you end up blaming it or getting mad at it, you get mad at yourself, and it can get self-destructive. So there's a need to overcome to make the extra effort on stress aspects so that you can use the planet and the sign in the house in as good a way as you can. So his ambition is behind the scenes. It's not recognized so much. But his friends and people that know him would know him. People who know him outside would know him as a very different person than anyone tried to live with him. But having the time to be alone, and that reflection is his process of being creative and getting us thinking and saying, I could really do this. He could see how he could do things that really could help or fix it, or be useful to other people, but he's not going to be appreciated for it immediately. But in terms of counseling and advising people, that he's sensitive to pick up on their problems and come up with the suggestions of how to work. He survived with his, he can help you to survive with yours. He just is not, you don't get the sense he was inclined to be overly frivolous. So if he did readings and stuff, he would be on the side of caution, on the side of being serious, and would have to work at, like I say, doing something physical, playing, and being creative in some way to take the edge off that seriousness. It's like a kid that had to grow up too fast, and he had to learn to play as an adult. Okay. But once he found something creative, he would have a drive to do it. You wouldn't be able to talk him out of it. But okay. His motivation is Sagittarius. He's motivated to understand. He's motivated to teach, to understand, to travel, to not be restricted, to have open-sided thing. And it can be motivated to be preaching or to be exaggerating or to be, although it can be motivated by a negative Jupiter, but it can be motivated by a positive Jupiter, which want to, so his ability to be, I want to travel from this home. I don't want to be just in this place. I want to move. This is part of the Jupiter on the IC. There's many ways to look at things. He's got to understand where he's coming from. What does need? What am I doing here? If I could be better there, or like so, he can. This need to grow, to learn, to expand. Okay, to be the teacher, to be taught, to meet right teachers. Well, it's hard to know who's a good teacher before you take the class. Okay, but this Sag here, the Jupiter's up in the 11th house, so he's motivated by friends, by getting out, by expressing himself, by learning. It's a smart, deep learning person. And because the Neptune's there, there's a need to do more creative or socially conscious or mystical things, and to understand things. But it makes him it adds a bit of a dreaminess to him, a dreameriness of wanting the dreams or the visions. But this is his motivation. If he were born half an hour later, that the Senate would be in Libra, the IC would be in Capricorn. It'd be much more. It would increase the restrictiveness on the Venus. It would bring in this. I don't know if you hear it. It ties into the Jupiter. So it needs to be friends and do things with friends and get out of here. Let's go do this. That's what he's talking. So high school and university and getting out of the house to meet people would be really good for him. But if he's going out and meeting people, that's one thing. If he's going out and meeting people and trying to just establish a home, it's not always the same thing. So when he thinks of security, because of his inhibition, is not always what the security is. Okay. But this motivation, that's there. It's his motivation is tied to the bucket, to the Jupiter, to enthusiasm, to expressing himself, to performing, to showing. It's in Leo, to show what he knows. So imagine if you were going to be an astrologer, he's going to have an inspiring card, an insightful and inspiring card that people notice, say, oh, wow, look at that. Right? These little things. The ascendant is Virgo, so the self-critical, the analytical, the analysis of self. I have the Virgo rising too. The Virgo is self-critical, self-analysis, always analyze, always trying to improve oneself and always trying to make things better, fix things, improve things. It's being healthy. All of these things are there. So you're always trying to be self-critical, fixing oneself. The descendant is in Pisces. So you're analyzing, but you don't see, you're gullible or a little bit more mystified by the people that you attract, because you go into yourself with your analysis, but they're not seeing that. They're seeing the Pisces and how you should or shouldn't be, or the kindness. They're seeing other things. They're seeing the opposite of yourself. You respond to other people the opposite way from how you see yourself. So you see how I'm doing this, I got this exactly. Why are people there? Why? And again, Jupiter rules that descendant. So his IC and his descendant ruled by Jupiter, which is the hand of the bucket, in the 11th house of friends, of teams, of groups, and being understood and noticing. And then you have the craft or the skillful person with the sun below the horizon. So being able to work towards creative associations, learning expansive things, that's there. Perform. The ability of being a creative performer, doing, whether it's film or music or doing something that could work with other people, that would be really high potential. Trying to fit into the practical world or just doing business or stuff, it wouldn't work so well for me. I wouldn't be happy with it. But he's a little bit overly serious to begin with. So this is not someone's, so it, he does things, but it takes a little bit more time to get to the relaxed or the more open stages. But the Virgo is the analytical thinking. But even his thinking ruled by Mercury, it's in Pisces, so it ties into Jupiter again. The descendants in Pisces. He responds to other people. It takes it very sensitive. He blames it. He gets codependencies. He gets codependent, Pisces, then expects things, and when it doesn't happen, he feels guilty or sad. Then that affects his imagination, his mind. Then he can get depressed about it. Then or he gets kind support. When he meets kind people, we have a common dedication, a common support system, or something you believe in common, a common cause. Wow. Then there's good feedback that comes in. There's a common thing that happens with the ideas, and it becomes easy to be the big kid, easy to be the person that's performing. The mid happens in Gemini. So I can do anything. I want to be independent. I want to work for myself. I want to think for myself. I don't want anyone telling me what to do. So here's someone who wants to be part of the team, but he really has to function independently and doing his own thing to show to others, to be noticed and be admired or be respected more than, it's not, there's no strong planets, but it affects his Mercury. So even the Mercury in the 6th house in Pisces, even though it's cautious and he may be cautious thinking himself, he may not talk that quickly. He's got a book to write. He's going to want to be known or accomplish something based on his ideas. He's got some work to do with his ideas. So he's inclined to take work or get respected in the world for his knowledge, for his insights. On that level, astrology is a really nice hug, a really supportive, would be a really supportive thing to him. It would take time to figure it out and work through his complexes or understand how they're there and how to turn them around. How are you doing for time? Yeah, okay, we're good. So this is like generally take a half an hour to work through this beginner stage and go through it. It's what it takes. And there's always more things you can do. You can't do everything unless you're going to take a week to work on a chart. Sometimes it's worth it. If you're going to live with someone for the rest of your life, it's worth spending a bit more time than an hour on the chart. Or on the 2 charts. Okay. Yeah, so we'll bring up, I'll get these out of here. And we're going to get this. Okay, we got the history. So we got the cycles to go, but I'd like to go over the bio first to see how it fits into the natal chart. Now, here we have he gave me it was a more detailed bio than I usually like to get half the size. It's not so much, but we'll just go through it and read through it. Early life, getting sick frequently due to sinus problems and allergies. Well, you got Sun's in the 5th, but the Mercury's in the 6th. It's Aquarius here, but Pisces in there. The Mercury in Pisces opposed by Saturn. That could create implies things that could affect. I would normally think sinuses are more of a Jupiterian, a growth or expansion thing, but there is the Pisces and the Mercury and the Saturn there. It implied not getting the proper nourishment of the Mercury in the 6th house in it, taking its toll. 94 starts listening to rock music. Okay, teenage things start. So listening to rock music. What you can see is appeal for rock music. Like da da da. Here it is, the performance, and it's something that stands out against the injustice or the harshness in the world. Yeah, I can see. So, if I graduated, didn't get good grades, moved with dad to other city, estranged from home. First love kicks in, gets into a relationship with a girl from close family friends while visiting with her family. Girl leaves after revisit, loneliness and depression begins. Starts missing family. High school continues, surgery for tonsils, nose, and sinuses. So again, this is probably tied. The moon square to Jupiter has the ability to attract these sinuses or the fluids, the excess fluids. The Mercury in Pisces is somewhat tied into this. It's complicated. So whenever his nutrition or his mind got depressed, it would have an effect on his health. Let's see.